Hello, hello. You do not know me, I do not know you. However, I hope you're doing good, and I hope you're kind of going through whatever bullshit you're going through right now. For me, it's like 12 a.m. in the morning, or I guess night. Actually, do you consider 12 a.m. night or day, right? Like, what do you consider that? You know, like, 'cause it kind of feels weird. Anyways, point is, I should really be sleeping for college, but instead, I'm doing this bucket list thing, which is talking about the Sonic franchise and rambling about it in a unique way because aside from these voice cracks, I think I have some unique things to say about these games that other and to be quite frank, way more capable reviewers such as Sun Johnny. I think it was the words like King, and then like it has a K, King K, I guess you could say his name. I think another guy called Telemaster. Like, there's a lot of phenomenal works out there that clearly outshine mine in the more, inspective things. And so I decided to kind of do a fun theme and just talk about a bunch of Sonic games at once, and to kind of just talk about things I learned from them because there's not really much I can say about the games themselves that have been talked about. I could always talk about how Sonic Adventure had a really good soundtrack and how Big the Cat is fucking annoying and the cutscene animations are very poor. However, I really just have to say, like, is there really a point to that? And to that I say no. If you really want to hear people's thoughts on that, there's like a million videos on YouTube. You can click one of them instead. But yeah, and I do apologize if I fuck up my English right away, because this shit is not my first language. I try my best, but this is not the way I normally talk. Anyways, Sonic Adventure experiencing this game was very interesting. Because the only exposure I had to Sonic at that point, to keep a long story very short, I tried Sonic Unleashed and Rider Zero Gravity on the PS2, and I also tried, I believe it was Sonic 4 Episode 1. Because it was actually the first game I ever pirated. And I remember I went up to my mom as a 9-year-old. I was like, Mom, I pirated a video game. And she was like, yeah, that's stealing. I was like, yeah, I stole a game. Aren't you proud of me? And she wasn't very proud. Good times these were. Anyways, so after that, I tried Sonic Adventure in hype because I just recently got access to internet and I saw the Forces trailer and I thought it looked very cool. And so I was kind of trying on all the 3D Sonic games that I missed. And since I had no console that could actually play Adventure or Adventure 2 for that matter, I instead went to the Dreamcast emulator and played it on Recast. I think it was its name anyway. I'm not really sure if it's called Recast. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I played the game on there, and I remember two things about it. I remember the opening was really fucking cool. Like, it was very fucking cool. It just I could always do this dramatic thing where I play the opening right now and tell you like, oh my god, this was the coolest thing ever. But to be honest, my emotions about the past are mostly subdued. It's not. I don't really get hyped or sad about things from the past, so I can't really channel that hype energy to be genuine. But I do promise you, I did react, and it was very cool. And it was the second thing was in the sewer section where you get the light speed dash. The end of the light trail in the emulator just does not spawn, so you cannot light dash up the trail. You just fall down, like you can't get high enough. So what you had to do was to spin dash jump on like one of the background elements. I think it was an arcade cabinet, and you had to spin dash jump perfectly from an incline that was opposite to the, like, you had to like spin that jump, but then you had to immediately turn around, use the momentum, and then like jump out. Like, it was very odd to describe. If I found some footage of it, it's playing right now. If it's not, then I could not find the video guide that I found when I was 10 years old. Doing this with touch controls on a greasy tablet screen. It wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. That shit was very difficult. That shit was very fucking difficult. But I eventually managed to get through. However, I never really remember much about this game. I mean, I like the soundtrack. I like the opening, like I said. But I just found the game mostly unremarkable, all things considered. It looked kind of ass, and I just didn't really care about it. I mean, I had fun with it because the cat wasn't too annoying for me as a kid. I just, at that age, just kind of assume you're just bad at video games. So, like, any jank, you just accept as your own fault. But yeah, Sonic Adventure wasn't very remarkable for me. It was very nothing. And then I hop on online, which was still a new thing at the time for me to hop on online like that. And Sonic Adventure turns out to be one of the most over-reviewed video games of all time. And I genuinely do not understand why. And so for this rambling, I kind of want to tackle about what makes a piece of art, memorable. Like what makes like a piece of art like that makes you go like, oh my god, yes, I will forever remember this for the rest of my life. Because of Sonic Adventure, I don't really get it. Like, I do not understand why people really liked that game or hated that game as much as they did. Like, it just seems like it's a video game. I'm not sure why you guys taking it so seriously. Like I just didn't really connect to it very well. Excuse me, but anyways, I didn't really connect to it all too well, and it was mostly just a very meh thing. And that got me curious. Actually, that got me curious about the topic of this rambling, or I guess the Sonic Adventure rambling, is that what makes an art click? And I do want you to think about this. Like, what is a piece of art that always clicked with you specifically, that you always remember, and explain why? Like you don't have to type it in or anything. You can just like imagine it in your head to get in the same headspace that I'm in right now. And, it just kind of be thinking, like, what makes a game just memorable? What makes somebody always remember a game? And to answer that question, I will do the same. And I will tell you about a game that I always remember to this day. And that is its sequel, Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure 2, I played it in the same circumstances as Sonic Adventure. It was a shitty tablet screen with touch controls and no context and no online opinions to base it off with. Like, I went in completely blind on both games, and yet Adventure 2 just hit for me way harder. It is it is my favorite Sonic game and one of my favorite games, probably my favorite video game ever made. Which is very odd because again, they're very similar. They're sequels to the same game, and yet I couldn't care less about the first one. And, for me, Sonic Adventure 2 really connected with me. That was beyond its measurable values, Like, we can always measure games with, like, level design is 8 out of 10, and soundtrack is a 9 out of 10, and polish is 6 out of 10. Like, we can always play this game, and then we can get an average, and then most of the time it'll just turn out to be 7 out of 10, and then people yell at IGN for always rating games at 7 out of 10. Like, yeah, I guess. Like, yeah, it's annoying, but it's the most predicted outcome because most games are just that, they're just good. That's most video games. It turns out, you need special talent to make it really shitty or really good. Like, you need, horrible shit to happen to make it awful, and you make, two miracles to make a a very good game. I'm not sure why I said two miracles specifically, but yeah, you need miracles. That's kind of the point there. Oops, my mic almost fell from my hands. Hold on, let me readjust myself as I buy time because I forgot what I was going to say next. Oh yeah, Sonic Adventure 2. So anyways, I kind of figured that Sonic Adventure 2 connected to me in a way that you cannot really measure with values. You cannot measure with simple bullet points or a chart of ranking it. And what really made me love Sonic Adventure 2, that, went past its graphics, its terrible sound mixing. In fact, I think the sound mixing actually added to it. And all these other flaws about the game, such as, the Emerald Radar and, the dialogue and the beeping of the mechs. And what really made me get past all that was simply the game being itself. And I think that is the embodiment of the Sonic franchise, because in the community right now, there's a lot of thoughts about what makes Sonic Sonic, and if Sonic can truly be anything and everything, then what's the restriction here? Is it just a blue hedgehog who fights a big fat guy, calls himself man? Because hell, the fat guy isn't even a thing anymore in the movies. So, that kind of makes you think, what makes Sonic Sonic? And to me, to answer that question, I think what makes Sonic Sonic is its ability to genuinely be itself. It's not restricted by a lot of boundaries and common sense, I guess, of modern society. I sound very pretentious right now, but it's true. There's no other game like a Sonic game. You know, you like, sure, you can have Sonic games that play like Sonic games. Sure, they may have the same physics, but they're not themselves. They're imitating Sonic, if that makes sense. Sonic is just anything of the franchise that's unapologetically itself. I think that's the criteria. I think that it can do anything. I don't think it has to be fast specifically. In fact, I don't even think it has to be a platformer. I really like the Werehog, for example. I really, really like the Werehog, actually. Because simply, it's a weird, stupid concept. However, it's resulted from it, the devs just having a fucking idea and running with it, and they caused one of the greatest opening sequences in any video game. So I just don't mind it, and that's the thing I saw. That's the spark I saw in Sonic Adventure 2. It was that unapologetic. This is like, what you see is what you get, to quote Sonic on this. Like, this is the most genuine video game I have ever played, and there is something special about it. There is something special about how on the nose the Knuckles rap are, and how bad the English localization is, and how bizarre some of the game design are, like the Green Forest timer, and the 5 minutes should be plenty. There's so much shit about this game that, like, quote unquote objectively, from a game design perspective, sucks ass. However, like, I just can't bring myself to really care, because it just makes the game better. Like, a lot of people, for example, the Rouge Space Stage, where you have the shitty prototype Mario Galaxy, gravity. And, there's the hints are in reverse. So, like, if it says the emerald is at the top, that means it's at the bottom. Or maybe the text will actually be inverted, so you have to, like, pause it and actually, like, think about it, and pause, just, like, write it down on a paper. Like, that shit was so stupid, and is completely stupid from a game design perspective, but I love it. I really loved it, and I think that's what makes the difference between Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Adventure for me. It's because, Sonic Adventure, it's just kind of okay, It just is a good game, but it never had that, like, level of risk taken, and the amount of fun you can tell the devs had with Sonic Adventure 2. And it's no wonder Sonic Adventure 2 was made with 9 people in I think it was 15 months, I think it was. And no wonder, it shows. The game is rushed as all hell. It barely fucking functions. I love it. It's a game that's unapologetically itself, and there's no game like Sonic Adventure 2 that exists on this planet. But there are plenty of games that I feel like can do what Sonic Adventure did very easily, because there's nothing really about it that's that unique aside from that opening. I think, Sonic Adventure 2 is just that opening stretch over an entire game, if I could describe it. And I just really like Sonic Adventure 2 over Sonic Adventure. And, I guess I got my answer there, which is that what made the art of Sonic Adventure 2 to be memorable for me. But I kind of just got thinking about, like, what makes Sonic Adventure memorable for other people. Like, I figured out my end of the spectrum, but what about other people? Because I do think that trying to understand other people is a very good way to understand yourself pretty well. So to get back to the core of this video, I guess, why did Sonic Adventure get so much of a strong reaction from people, I guess we could say? And there's a lot of fun aspects in history that we could point to. We could always point to these Saturn days. Researching that was very fun and odd and kind of sad, and it was very weird seeing Yuji Naka. I feel like the guy, like, when I was young, I was like, Yuji Naka is the coolest guy ever. He made Sonic, and then he's in prison right now. So funny how that works, and funny how that mic peak works. God damn it, I hate breathing. Anyways, I really do say. Do I say anyways a lot? Is that like a thing I do? I do that. Oh wait, I just remembered. One of my friends actually pointed this out to me, where I just say actually and point is and technically way too much. And it actually became a running gag in school, I think, at one point, which is now that I remember, it probably wasn't done in good spirits. Good times, man. How long was that now? I think it was 6 years ago. 6 years ago. That's when Sonic Forces came out, yeah? A little bit afterwards, actually, yeah. Sonic Forces, huh? That's going to be a very unique video idea. I went into an insane tangent right there. But I really would like to hear your thoughts on Sonic Adventure. I know this is kind of a cop out because I think a lot of people are right now thinking like, oh, he's gonna reveal the secrets of the human psyche. But truth be told, I don't fully get it. I don't really get it, and this is actually kind of a running theme with me in games in general because like. I had access to emulators now, so I was like, okay, what phenomenal game should I play? And of course, eventually that brings me the answer to the classic Sonic games, which are also in the same vein as Sonic Adventure, where like they didn't really connect to me because I just saw nothing much going on in them. I mean, they were fun, except Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I actually do not like that game at all. I think that game is ass. I think the level design in it is just very bland, just not bland, but like it just feels very what's the word for it? Very stretched out, like the carnival stage is so long, Marble Gardens so long. I think Angel Island is fine. I think Hydrocity is fine. But I do not like any other stages in Sonic 3. I think they all suck ass. I think maybe except Flying Battery, but even then that's a stretch. I really do not like Sonic 3 Knuckles. But yeah, like Sonic 1, Sonic 2, CD, like they're all kind of just fine. They're good games. I acknowledge they're good games, but meh. I just don't really care about them. It just doesn't really hit me the same way. I think Sonic CD is probably the one I like the most out of the classic Sonic games because it comes close to that attitude of just being boldly itself, and it's a relic of an era that is well before my time. And it's a very fascinating game for it, and I hope one day I can play that game on a real Sega Genesis, on a real Sega CD, because I would kill for that. That sounds very fun. Yeah, and to kind of continue this trend, I had access to emulators, so I just went to like best games to play, and then one of them was of course Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time was a very recommended game. I tried it and I thought it was very boring. I thought most of it was very bland and boring because again, it's a game engineered to be good, if that makes sense, and I feel like that's the way with a lot of Nintendo games. Like I don't really care about Mario Odyssey, for example, because it just seems like I don't know, manufactured. I guess there's a lot of creativity, but it's mandated creativity. It's creativity with 50 different filters, and I don't really like that. Which is why I actually really like Breath of the Wild, because I feel like it's the only Nintendo game that doesn't have that. You can just kind of do whatever bullshit you can want. You can want, by the way. Phenomenal English by me there. But yeah, that's kind of the kind of thing with me, is that I really do much prefer a flawed, genuine game over a perfect, non-flawed, but not really genuine game, because I do think it oozes. Even if AI art gets perfect, I think it will always feel off. Like maybe when I'm if I get doom scrolling or whatever, I wouldn't notice. I'm not gonna pretend I would notice every time, but if I commission art and I just find AI art, I think I can tell it's AI art most of the time. If I'm not blinded by the fact that I just paid a hefty price for a commission or something. But yeah. So it kind of just got me thinking about how art is interpreted, and I'm very curious to hear your stories about why you like Sonic Adventure and what makes you connect to it. What makes you connect to the classic games? Maybe I got spoiled by playing, the adventure games and the Sonic Unleashed and whatnot, so something like the Genesis games just don't look that impressive to me, and thus they never really register in the memory. It's very fascinating, the fact that the context of art can change so much over time. It's a very fascinating thing. And, while we're keeping on the theme of genuality, let's talk about the game that ended the genuality of the Sonic series, Sonic 06. Now, Sonic 06 is a very interesting game because I never played it. I'm not sure if I mentioned this yet, but I did not play it, and I was born in the same year as it. I've been yapping for so long that I cannot keep track of what I said and what I didn't say. But yeah, that was a very forced laugh. Sonic 06. Its effects on the franchise are so fucking persistent and so huge that it just look, man, I don't even know what to say about 06 as a transition point, because let's be real here, talking about how talked about Sonic 06 is a dead horse beating a dead horse. Like this is just there is nothing unique for me to say here. So I figured that it's very interesting to look at the franchise from an outside perspective. Now I got lucky. I didn't really have access to the internet back then as frequently, so Sonic wasn't really a laughing stock. And I played the adventure games. I loved Sonic Adventure 2, and that was good enough for me. But the ramifications on this franchise that it had on this franchise was tragic to say the least. Like this series was not considered cool at all when I was growing up whatsoever. However, one day I moved schools, which I was very against, but my parents kind of just forced me. In hindsight, it was a much better school with a significantly better education. That was absolutely the right call to do. I just kind of wish they asked me, but it's fine. It's like, when did this happen? Like 12 years ago at this point? I got over it. It's for like 10 years, but point is, I like to think I'm matured beyond that. But yeah, so during that new thing, I wanted to impress people, and I think it was a substitute thing or like a music thing. I'm not really sure. But everyone was kind of playing their own, music videos on the classroom projector, right? Just playing their videos, and they were all dancing and laughing. And so, I'm the new kid. It's time to impress and show the real me to people. And then I went to the thing, and I went to YouTube. I looked up the song that I wanted to play, and yeah, I kind of got laughed out of the room there. It was a very, very vivid memory. It's not exactly very pretty, and I probably should not be recalling this shit at 12 a.m. because the emotions that you feel at 12 a.m. are not very unbiased. They're very negative skewed. And yeah, just one of the worst moments growing up, like there's a lot of events that are like way worse than this, but this is the one event that really sticks out because it really just hit me where it hurt, which was my heart. And it's in cases like this where you usually look for comfort. I was a kid back then. I wasn't old enough to the whole be your own comfort kind of thing. So I just had to be my own. I tried to get some comfort from the franchise I loved, but the same way I got laughed at, the games got laughed at too. The more I realized that on the internet, and when you get laughed at like that badly, like you try to keep a strong face and like a poker face and just try to show like it doesn't matter and you don't care, but you do care, and eventually it gets to you, and when it gets to you, it is very disheartening, right? Because you just bend over and you just do whatever others want you to do on the hopes of you getting popular. And to be honest, I've done and said a lot of things that I really do regret in the effort of trying to gain more respect from people, quote unquote, because I was just desperate, I was just desperate for validation, and ever since that day, I think it was around 5th or 6th grade, ever since that day, I kind of just have a habit of alt-tabbing whenever I'm working on something that connects to me, because, well, I feel shame in it, because I grew to feel shame, and, I couldn't escape to the franchise, because the franchise too went into shame. The same way I became more like other people, Sonic became like every other platformer with every passing year after Sonic 06. Like, don't look any further than Sonic Colors. That game is so devoid of anything. Of like, I'm sure the devs worked hard. I'm sure, right? But it's not really filled with passion or ambition or anything. It's just a very dead nothing game. Same with Lost World, and yeah, it stretches out to Forces, but these are discussions for another day. But there is a good ending to this, because as we all know, eventually Sonic just stopped trying to be like others and went for it. I know a lot of people are going to disagree on me on this, but I do think that Sonic Frontiers was a very Sonic game in that aspect. Now, not like I know a lot of people are gonna say like, "Oh my God," but it's just Sonic and Breath of the Wild. Yeah, but there's something about it that just unapologetically itself as well. The tie-in fights, the fucking popping, the shitty cutscene thing, like the Ian Flynn writing and references, and how fucking obnoxious it gets. Like, I do think like shit like that is genuine, right? Because there's genuine love and passion, and just following your heart rather than following your brain. There's just a lot of that going on in Frontiers, and I love it. Like if I had to give like a rating, like an objective rating on like the game's quality, I would say that Sonic Adventure is like an 8 out of 10. Frontiers like a 7 out of 10. But I would always play Sonic Frontiers over Adventure for this exact same reason. For the I guess the feel of it, the soul of it, if that makes sense. I felt a lot more soul coming from Frontiers than I ever felt for Sonic Adventure. And this kind of inspired me, because if there's nothing truly more yourself and more vulnerable and more realistic and more grounded than having the strength to say, yeah, we fucked up, but let's keep on moving, and to just kind of move beyond that, and to admit that during the credits scene, no way, one way dream. It's a very sweet thing, and it really did make a difference for me. And I when the Sonic 06 got hit, I got hit. When the Sonic 06 got hit, I mean when the Sonic franchise got hit, I got hit as well as a result of that. And it's kind of funny looking back because the song that I played back then was the Storm Red Desert FMV, or I think it's called MMV, whatever, of his world. So in a way, unlike like a lot of people actually, Sonic 06 almost made me stop being a Sonic fan for a completely different and indirect reason, and it also indirectly saved my love for this franchise. And I do think that's my unique angle in Sonic 06. It's the fact that I've never played this game, and yet it's had a profound impact on me. It's very fascinating. It is quite fascinating, and I really think that's a wonderful thing. To run the risk of being a little bit corny here, I genuinely do not think that this is a mere coincidence at all. Like, I do not believe in coincidences, like, at all. Like, I generally do not believe in coincidences. And to kind of further attest to that, and to kind of further prove that point, fun fact, me and Sonic 06, we shared the exact same, day number of birth. We were both born like Sonic 06 was released on the 14th of November. I was born on the 14th of January. And then both in 2006, it was the Sonic 06 song that made me go the exact same path as the franchise did at a very similar time, and we both recovered at a very similar time. And it's funny, I did say I wanted you to leave your thoughts on the way Sonic Adventure connected to you people, but I think I got my answer actually through pure rambling. I got my answer what art connects to people. And I just realized that how good a thing is has nothing to do with it, which is quite fascinating. Huh. I never really thought about it that way. I kind of just connect, and like I'm connecting the dots as we go, and yeah, I guess I got my answer. I guess that's what makes pieces of art memorable. I guess that what makes them iconic. Who knows how many stories like this happened in the Dreamcast era, with Adventure, for example, or the classic Sonic games. And, I guess that's how art connects to people. And it really has nothing to do with how good or bad they are. Huh. That was a fun revelation. I mean, I guess I always knew it if my brain made the connection this fast, but yeah, I like it. I guess I got the idea of why art connects to people. I guess because they just connect to. I like to think there's something beyond our consciousness, and I think we connect to that. We like things that make us connect to that inner soul, I guess. And 06 indirectly did that. Adventure 2 directly did that. and I'm thankful for both. '06 made me a Sonic fan and also made me hate the fucking franchise. How odd and how exciting as well, because I do wonder how many people actually share the same sentiments I do. Maybe I'm alone in this, but who knows? Wow, that was very fun. I love rambling. In fact, I hope you discover something new while listening to me ramble. And just to end things off, because I do think that this has dragged on long enough, I do want to quickly mention Heroes in Shadow. Heroes, I don't really like. I think hating is a strong word. I used to use that word for Sonic Heroes, but I don't like it anymore simply because the circumstances that the game was developed in are very rough, and I would argue we're even rougher than Sonic 06. So it's just a miracle it turned out way better than '06. So yeah, I don't really like Heroes at all, but meh, I think it's janky. I like the CGI cutscenes. I like the soundtrack. His Machine and the Team Chaotix theme, 10 out of 10. But aside from that, it's pretty meh. And Shadow the Hedgehog. I think I like it quite a bit more than Heroes, actually, because it has the unapologetically insult trait. However, unfortunately, the gameplay is kind of too ass to carry. Like, I think he controls pretty well, and I like the gunplay. But the missions. I played Lost Impact, the Artificial Chaos mission, and I just turned the game off right there. Like, I never turned back. Oh my god, that was not intentional. That was an Ian Flynn line right there. Holy hell. That I really just, never turn back at Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah, very funny. But yeah, Never Turn Back is actually one of my favorite Sonic themes, by the way. And the whole soundtrack for Shadow the Hedgehog is very fucking good. I think it's way better than Heroes. I think it's way better than Colors. I think it's way better than Colors and Gens and Lost World. Even though all these three games have some really good songs, but I really do like the Shadow the Hedgehog soundtrack. But yeah, I really don't have anything unique to say about these games. I don't really have a connection to them. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, I'm very glad I managed to ramble today because I discovered something new about myself, which is very fun. And talking about bullshit and the way your life changed and trauma and all that corny shit. It helps you develop as a person. And I think getting this off my chest was a very healthy and positive development. So anyways, I think I've run out of things to talk about because we went Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, and '06. Again, I have not played '06, so I do apologize. But this is definitely not like a review series. This is kind of just me rambling about random bullshit. And, I'd like to start this out by talking about the Sonic series and some very fascinating things about them and talk about things that no one else seems to be talking about. And keeping up with the theme, I think I'm going to do another one of these randomly. It's about secret rings because I'm actually Arabic, so I have a lot to say about the Arabian Nights and some a bit more odd topics that I've been kind of meaning to talk about. And that is, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it to myself because talking about things happening is a very good way to make sure they never happen. Please do never tell your friends about. Oh, I'm gonna plan to start this project. Finish the project, then show them. Don't worry, they'll still be there and they'll still appreciate you. Don't worry about it. Just do not tell them. Trust me, you will never finish that shit. But yeah. Thank you very much, I guess, if you listened this far, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope this helped you with whatever bullshit you were facing. And honestly, I know I just said I don't need it, but honestly, I want you to talk about, the art that connected to you, and maybe you have some fun stories, fun coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences, but if you think they're coincidences, then well, go ahead, share them. And I'd love to hear about them. The same way about the Sonic '06 thing. Life works in very mysterious ways. And depending on who you ask, it's not life that works in mysterious ways, but that's a completely different discussion that I'm not willing to get into at 12 a.m. Have a good fucking day, guys, and I hope you do pretty well. And see you guys later. Or maybe never. Who knows?